I can't express how proud I am of my teammates. They picked me up. When I was down, we cried together, prayed together. And now we're pumping champagne together. The rise of the Las Vegas Aces to the peak of the WNBA has been nothing short of phenomenal, with back-to-back championships in 2022 and 2023. They were the undisputed champions of women's basketball, their dominance seemingly unmatched. This powerhouse team, led by stars like A'ja Wilson, Chelsea Gray, and Kelsey Plum, quickly became a symbol of excellence with their powerful mix of precision, strength, and flair, making them one of the most exciting teams to watch in sports. As the Aces began to build their dynasty, they went from a big three to a deep roster that added valuable pieces, including Chelsea Gray. This journey, however, was not without its struggles from the outset. The Aces were not just a collection of individual stars, but a team united by a singular vision. But despite the championship victories, the 2023 season began to reveal some cracks in the armor. Injuries disrupted their rhythm, internal tensions bubbled to the surface, and off-the-court distractions started to make their mark. The team, once seemingly indomitable, began to show signs of vulnerability. In a season where expectations were high, they could only muster a 27-13 record for a team used to dominating. This was a stark contrast to their previous success. The Aces no longer looked like the juggernaut they once were, and the cracks in their foundation became more apparent as the playoffs approached. Fans and analysts still held hope that the Aces would be able to defend their championship. The excitement and anticipation were palpable, but what unfolded in the postseason sent shockwaves through the league. The Aces, who had been known for their tough defense, saw their once stellar performance falter under the pressure. Key players like Kelsey Plum, known for her shooting prowess, struggled to find her rhythm. Even Chelsea Gray, who had been the team's backbone, appeared out of sync at times. A'ja Wilson, the team's heart and soul, couldn't carry the weight of the team on her own, and as the New York Liberty exploited the Aces' weaknesses, it was like they were giving free tickets away at the Michael Jackson morning show. No one was there for those moments, so to have this moment with them, and to see us grow. The Aces were unceremoniously eliminated from the playoffs. The loss was crushing and unexpected, leaving fans and analysts alike questioning if the era of the Aces was over. Amidst the disappointment, whispers of locker room tensions began to surface. Players were reportedly clashing over leadership styles, with some feeling that Wilson's approach had become too forceful. The trust and chemistry that had once defined the team seemed to be fraying. The Aces had always prided themselves on their unity, but as the losses piled up, the camaraderie that had once bound them together began to crumble. Even the coaching staff, led by the celebrated Becky Hammond, felt the weight of the team's struggles. Once known for her ability to rally her team with sharp strategies and inspiring confidence, Hammond began to feel the pressure from just the big three with me to now the four with Chelsea, and now adding pieces. It's so special, and it's kind of, you look back on it, and you're like, wow, like we really built this from the ground up, and no one will ever be able to take that away from us. Her public comments, which included criticisms of players being more focused on social media than their game, raised eyebrows. Some saw it as tough love, while others questioned whether her leadership had become a source of division within the team. Then came the bombshell: Kelsey Plum's departure from the Aces. Known for her electrifying presence and leadership on the court, Plum's exit sent a shock through the organization. Her decision to leave wasn't just a career move, it was a clear statement of discontent with the direction the team was heading. Rumors of frustrations with the team's dynamics were not surprising, and Plum's departure only confirmed that there were significant cracks within the Aces' foundation. Her exit marked a pivotal moment, not just for the Aces, but for the entire league. Plum, a key figure in the team's success, was now embracing a new future, and her bold move left fans and players alike questioning the Aces' future. Meanwhile, as the Aces faced their internal struggles, a new star was rising in the league. Caitlin Clark's rookie season with the Indiana Fever had been nothing short of historic. Clark wasn't just a player, she was a phenomenon with her exceptional skills and remarkable basketball IQ. Clark rewrote the WNBA record books, but her influence went far beyond just numbers. Clark's leadership transformed the Indiana Fever into a powerhouse, bringing them to prominence and inspiring teammates like Aaliyah Boston and Kelsey Mitchell. I say, when I put my son out there, the Fever, under the guidance of Coach Stephanie White, had built a new culture centered on accountability, teamwork, and growth. With Clark leading the charge, the Fever quickly became one of the most formidable teams in the league. Clark's impact on the WNBA went beyond just her on-court performances. She became a symbol of the league's future, a beacon of hope for women's sports. She embodied everything the league had hoped for: a dynamic, fearless player with an unwavering commitment to her team and the game. As Clark's star rose, so did the Indiana Fever's fortunes. Really hard, and I'm just fine, but I love my teammates so much that I will take any gift from them. Good. As if the tension wasn't enough, a seismic shift occurred within the team when Kelsey Plum decided to leave the Aces. Plum, one of the Aces' most electrifying players, had been a key part of their championship runs. Her departure sent shockwaves through the team, and the league rumors suggested that Plum's decision was fueled by frustration with the team's dynamics and her growing disillusionment with the organization's direction. Her exit marked a turning point, not only for the Aces, but for the entire WNBA. Plum wasn't just leaving a championship team. She was leaving a vision. She no longer believed in her departure. Set the stage for a dramatic shift in the League One that would eventually see her collide with the WNBA's rising star Caitlin Clark. Caitlin Clark's rise to stardom was nothing short of meteoric. The rookie god who had already become a household name in college basketball made an instant impact in the WNBA. Her debut season shattered records and turned heads not just for her scoring ability, but for her leadership and poise on the court. With Clark leading the Indiana Fever, the team began to surge. Her energy and fearless play made her an unstoppable force, and soon the Fever were one of the most exciting teams to watch in the league. Clark's impact wasn't just felt on the court, she became a symbol of the WNBA's bright future alongside rising stars like Aaliyah Boston and Kelsey Mitchell. Clark was spearheading a new era in women's basketball, one where the future of the league seemed limitless. Her success also ignited a sense of hope for the Fever, a team that had struggled for years, but now seemed on the cusp of greatness. As Clark's star rose, so too did the comparisons to A'ja Wilson. For years, Wilson had been the face of the WNBA. She was the player fans looked to as the future of the league, and her competitive spirit had propelled the Aces to the pinnacle of women's basketball. But with Clark's rapid ascension, the spotlight began to shift. The two stars found themselves at the center of a changing dynamic in the league. What had once been Wilson's time to shine was now being challenged by the emergence of a new era led by Clark. It wasn't just about basketball, it was about leadership, influence, and legacy. Wilson's reign as the WNBA's most dominant player was being tested by a younger, more dynamic challenger. And as the league evolved, so too did the challenges for both Wilson and Clark. In the midst of this shifting landscape, Kelsey Plum emerged as one of Caitlin Clark's most vocal supporters. As she transitioned away from the Aces, Plum made it clear that she saw Clark as the future of the league. Her admiration for Clark's game and leadership only added to the growing narrative of a changing WNBA. Plum's departure from the Aces and her subsequent support for Clark signaled a new chapter in her career, one where she would embrace the rise of the next generation of talent. As Plum and Clark's paths intertwined, the dynamics of the BA were changing before everyone's eyes. The once dominant Aces were now faced with the reality of competition, not just from within, but from a new breed of players like Clark, who were pushing the league in exciting new directions. With Caitlin Clark leading the charge, the Indiana Fever had risen from the depths of mediocrity to become a legitimate contender in the WNBA. The franchise, once considered an afterthought in the league, had been revitalized by a new leadership structure, a fresh approach to building a winning culture, and the arrival of Clark. The Fever's resurgence signaled a shift in the WNBA, with the team now positioning itself to challenge the league's traditional powerhouses. For the Aces, the road ahead was uncertain. Their once great dynasty was in disarray, and the challenges they faced in 2023 would be difficult to overcome. With Becky Hammon's coaching under scrutiny and the departure of key players, the Aces found themselves at a crossroads. Meanwhile, the Fever, led by Clark, stood as a shining example of what could be achieved when a team prioritized growth, accountability, and a shared vision. The rise of Indiana and the shifting dynamics within the Aces indicated that the future of the WNBA was rapidly changing. Whether the Aces could rebound or be left behind would depend on how they responded to the challenges before them. Put it on the floor. As the WNBA enters a new era, the shifting power dynamics between teams like the Las Vegas Aces and the Indiana Fever reflect a broader transformation within the league. Caitlin Clark's rise, coupled with the challenges faced by the Aces basketball, is a game of height. This might seem like a simplistic observation, but in the world of the NBA, it couldn't be more accurate. When you think about the players who dominate the league, the first thing that often comes to mind is their towering presence, whether it's the relentless dunks of players like Giannis Antetokounmpo or the length of Kevin Durant's arms. Height gives players an undeniable advantage. It's a fact that NBA teams factor in when scouting talent. Taller players often make a bigger impact, and for good reason. Basketball involves shooting into a 10-foot-high basket, and the higher you are, the easier it becomes to score and defend. She's a really defensive player, a great limb protector. She's so athletic and obviously has been able to shoot the three pretty well for decades. The tallest players in the NBA were often the ones who got the most attention. Players like Zion Williamson, Paolo Banchero, and the recently drafted Victor Wembanyama have set the standard when it comes to size, and as the trend has shown, a lot of the top picks in the NBA draft have been towering figures, with the shortest player drafted in the last 5 years being Davion Mitchell at 6 feet tall. In daily life, being 6 feet tall places you in the 90th percentile for height worldwide, but in the NBA it's almost considered short. Yet in a league dominated by these giants, one player stands out for his remarkable ability to defy the odds. His name is Yuki Kawamura, and standing at 5 feet 8 inches tall, he is shorter than most of his NBA peers. To put this into perspective, the average NBA height sits at around 6.7, leaving Kawamura much smaller in comparison to his colleagues. In fact, the height difference between Kawamura and other NBA players could be as much as a foot or more, but despite this, Yuki has taken the basketball world by storm, shattering expectations and proving that in the NBA it's not just about height, it's about heart, skill, and determination. Yuki Kawamura's journey to the NBA has been anything but conventional. Unlike most NBA players who are discovered at a young age in American high schools or AAU circuits, Yuki's rise to fame came through the Japanese B-League, where he quickly established himself as one of the most talented and promising players in the world. His talent wasn't just recognized in Japan, but it captured the attention of the global basketball community, making him one of the most talked about players heading into the 2025 NBA season. Yuki's rise to fame didn't just happen overnight. He spent years working tirelessly, first making waves in the Japanese basketball scene, then transitioning to the global stage, and finally making his mark in the NBA. While basketball in Japan isn't as widely followed as in the US, Yuki's undeniable skill on the court has forced many to take notice. His speed, his agility, and his unrelenting competitive drive have made him a force to be reckoned with, and his journey is one that has inspired basketball fans worldwide. In one of his first major appearances on the international stage, Yuki Kawamura faced off against Finland in an international FIBA competition in August 2023. Finland's Lauri Markkanen had been lighting up the NBA, earning All-Star status after an incredible season, but despite Markkanen's dominance, Yuki put on a performance that would be remembered for years to come. At just 5 feet 8 inches, Yuki dominated the game with his blazing speed, his impeccable handles, and his basketball IQ. He left Markkanen and his teammates in the dust, displaying a level of skill and confidence that many had never expected from a player of his size. But it wasn't just the highlight plays that made Yuki stand out. His clutch moments in the were a testament to his mental fortitude and poise under pressure. With the game on the line, Yuki hit a three-pointer right in Markkanen's face, followed by a series of plays that completely overwhelmed the Finnish defense. His ability to outmaneuver and outsmart defenders despite the size disparity was a clear indication that he had the skills to succeed at the highest level. By the end of the game, he had led Japan to a stunning victory, and basketball fans worldwide began to take note of this incredible young talent from Japan. While the world was buzzing about his international success, Yuki's performance in the NBA has been somewhat of a different story. Despite his undeniable talent, his NBA stats don't necessarily jump off the page. With an average of just 15 points and 0.8 assists per game, Yuki's numbers might not seem impressive at first glance, but these statistics don't tell the full story. They don't capture the impact he has on the court when he's given the chance to play, and they certainly don't take into account the incredible potential he holds as a player in the making. Thanks for watching, and subscribe my channel.